What a pleasure.
It's a great pleasure for me too.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's very generous of you to agree to talk to somebody you have no. Well, I guess we've been friends online
Yes,
for a little while.
for a while, and we met as well.
We met.
Yes,
we met once.
Once a few years ago. I think I was in London, right?
Yeah, I think about 2010.
Okay, right.
Do you remember I gave you a gift?
That's right. Oh, thanks so much. That was the Chico Buarque record, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
You thanked me. You thanked me enough. You sent me one of your records.
All right.
Yeah. So it's so generous of you to just say, yeah, totally. Let's talk. I mean, I'm sure you live quite a busy life. Well, maybe not so busy right now with COVID and everything else. How are things for you? Fairly slow?
Well, I still have work to do, because I have to compose things for, radios, like broadcast, musical fictions, kind of things.
Oh, right. Like soundtrack style.
Yeah, but for radio,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, songs as well, like it's usually about around a writer, a poet, like Apollinaire, for example. And we have like a few actors, comedians reading like the text, and also songs that I compose. And usually it's arranged by a guy with like for big orchestra. So it's really nice, actually.
Your stuff, even more so, your more recent stuff, feels a lot like it sort of communicates with imagery. It could perfectly be the soundtrack for whatever you like. I see things while I'm listening to your music. I see a visual story.
Yeah.
Is writing to radio completely different to writing your solo stuff?
Well,
how is it different? I'm sure it is.
Yeah, well, it's actually very different, because like the my first solo albums were based on some sort of it was like a playground thing. I was just like improvising and composing things, but like really quickly, It was more
not thinking too much.
Not thinking too much, because when I started to do that solo things, I was in a period where I was fed up with writing songs, basically.
Yeah. With you mean writing songs with more inclined to pop, more structured, with regular structured type songs, ABC type thing.
Yeah, and as well, just the work thing, to sit and having to work and compose. I didn't want that anymore. I just wanted to sort of improvise and do everything like really quickly, and
less goal oriented.
Yes, but it changed actually, because I sort of got sick of that method, and for my new album, I wanted the opposite. I wanted to get back to composing, but I didn't want it to be boring. I didn't want to redo things I've done before, so I wanted to try to. Like almost like over compose it, make it like a really harmonized. And I had a concept actually. So it's not too much about imagery or soundtracks or whatever. It was more like a, you know, yes, an idea, a concept, and that I wanted to develop.
Yeah, like writing, layers and layers of writing.
Layers and as well, you know, well, the first song on my new album, like the one which is called Quel est ton parcours, is like 16 minutes long, and the idea was I composed like a really simple sequence, and I wanted to decline, harmonize it like all the way through, make it like change every time, like change the harmonies, change the tempo, and so and add a few other themes as well. So the whole thing would like evolve throughout the songs, and you don't recognize it anymore, but it's still there in a way.
It's like entropy. It's sort of start very composed, lots of things, and you sort of take bits apart and mixes up things. Like entropy just becomes a mush, or going towards what a mush is, and and then you hit us with something pretty beautiful at about 12 minutes. Yeah, which came first, your concept or that 12-minute part?
The concept actually. I had the idea, and that's the first time I've done that actually. Yeah, I had the idea in my head, and I just wanted to apply it. So at first it was like a very sort of cold thing, but then of course when I got into it, it got like really melodic and all the things I do like usually. So it ended up sounding like me, you know, eventually. But at first it was like a very mental thing, you know.
So you started from an idea rather than sat down and from a melody. You didn't start from a melody or from a little bit of a musical idea. You started with a concept, and you're saying that's a new thing for you then.
Yeah, well, I kind of did the same thing with the Midget. Yeah, my band on the first song on the latest album, Premier Soleil, was an idea as well, you know, before being an actual song, you know. It's a new way of composing for me to have ideas beforehand, and I find it like really enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know,
to try and translate a concept that only works intellectually.
Yeah, it forces me to. Yeah, it forces me to change my way of making things. You know, so I don't redo the same thing over and over again.
Well, you're getting bored of yourself, of your own music.
Absolutely. And that happens a lot, you know.
I get bored. Yeah. I mean, for artistically, I think every artist will get bored of themselves. I get very surprised at how people work through careers that are decades long doing the same. I mean, can you imagine being the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, I know.
But also,
you play music too, right? Yes.
I play the guitar, played a bit of piano. Yeah, I play the guitar essentially. I write for myself. I had my bands in my early 20s, etc. I don't play professionally.
Okay, right. But you compose things and stuff.
Yeah, I wrote things. I'll send you a few tracks one day.
Okay, I'd love to hear it.
Nothing to your level, but I'll definitely send you some.
Please. Great.
Also, the other thing that I think goes in line with what you were just saying, the fact that you are changing your approach to writing, is the fact. Well, the track titles are pretty amazing and they're mind-boggling as well. I mean, I've been cracking my head trying to understand them and to make sense out of them, calling my French friends and to try and, is this an expression that I can't work out, and doing online research. But
Thanks
I
for
know,
doing that.
I know for a fact, well, unless you're lying on the interview I read, I know that you've, that the track names are part of your approach to this album. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, actually, the first track is called "Quel est ton parcours," which means what is your path? But it's a very, I don't know how to say it actually, because it's a very professional sort of line, It's like
very professional what?
It's a professional question, It's
right.
like
it's like what's your background? What's your work background?
What's your background? Exactly, exactly. And that's the sort of questions I find very hard to answer, when I'm asked. Usually I don't say anything.
Where you come from, yeah. Where
you come from,
what sort of question you get on a job interview?
Yeah. It's exactly. It's on a job interview, or if you meet like people that are more in sort of university sort of background, they speak of that, this kind of
in the academic world.
Academic world, exactly. So, well, a friend of mine asked me that question like a couple of years ago, and I couldn't answer it. And I thought that I would try to answer it with notes, to make something out of it. So to tell her of my background, with a song, like with just music. So that's the explanation of the first track. The other.
So does that track, your opening track, does that tell your life story or your professional story?
No, it's not. Yeah, well, actually, I don't really have.
You don't have an answer.
No, I don't. I don't have a. It's hard for me to say. When you say parcours, it's not exactly background. It's more like really when you go from a point to another. It's like a path, really.
A path.
Yeah, and
it's your career path.
Yeah, career path, exactly. And I don't feel I really have one. I have the impression I just redo the same gestures over and over again. I've been doing that for years, just taking my guitars and write songs or whatever. So it's more like the way I answer it is more. It's more like an emotional path, like something that has to do with the senses, sensitivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So what would the big 12-minute mark opening and absolute beautifying or blossoming of musical blossoming that happens at 12-minute, what would that represent? I mean, I'm sure that your friend asked you that question and you said, well, I can't answer it in words, so I'm going to write a song. and now there's an idiot asking you to answer the same question again when you already wrote it in. It's just like, go and fucking listen to the song, my friend.
No, but I actually I didn't say that to my friend. You know, I was first at that time. She wasn't really my friend, so I couldn't. I just didn't say anything. Basically, I said,
Right.
"Well, I don't know. Well, I don't have a path, you know, or whatever." But I get, yeah, it has to do with whatever, you know, love, these kind of things, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess.
So it was kind of obvious. I don't know why I was trying to make you say it. Like, it's so lovely. I mean, you have a characteristic that I keep comparing to walking a dog in your music, which is, you know, when you walk a dog through the same path every day, and the dog apparently doesn't really relax, it becomes less of a walk for the dog. The dog comes home and it feels like it wasn't a walk at all, because they're walking through corners and a path that the dog
right.
is completely
Right.
familiar with.
Okay, right.
And funnily enough, through the path of your career towards the end, and now more than ever, it feels like your music offers me the exact opposite of this very similar path that the dog walks through. I mean, there's not one bar. Well, perhaps on the other 7 songs, there's a slight sense of repetition. There's a bit of repetition, but on the first one, as we say, it's a journey from beginning to 12 minutes. There's full entropy, and it's so de-stressing, the fact that you never know what the next melody is going to tell you.
Yeah, right. But thanks a lot. But can you hear that there are like portions of melodies that are played like throughout the songs in different harmonies? Can you hear that?
I haven't noticed that. No, I'm going to have to revisit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No, because I believe what you're saying, but I think the fact that the context for each time you play those same melodies is so different and changing.
Different, yeah.
You lose the reference point. So from a listener's perspective, I mean, I'm sure you know exactly where they are, but from a listener's perspective, it's like it's all very fresh and very new.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if one sits and studies it, they'll find it. But the feeling is that the ground is constantly shifting, and that has such a special that gives you, the listener, such a special feeling while you're listening to music. And also the fact that you don't get acquainted to the music or to a song in particular until you listen to it quite a few times. I love music that is, I wouldn't call it challenging, but that's not just easy listening, that you can't finish the melodies before the end of the bar. So I guess I'm just complimenting you.
No, yeah, thanks a lot. And I really like the walking the dog metaphor that you used. That's great. Yeah, actually, that was such a great pleasure to compose that tune. You know, I had it was difficult, but it was so rewarding. Like I was confronted to like real like composition problems.
Right.
Like you know, how can I renew, you know, the same melodies over and over again, and how can I, you know, make like
recontextualize.
Yeah, exactly, and change the harmonies, but like the chords shouldn't be too complicated. otherwise it would be like too rich, you know. So I didn't use like jazz chords, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It was just not working. They were not working. They were like too rich, actually.
Mm.
And as well, the main, like the lead guitar couldn't be mistaken for a lead part, a solo part.
Yeah,
because like you were like just getting completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to remain like really clear, like a singing voice, you know.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
We're talking about.
So, yeah,
that's a bit like a. It just makes me think of. I don't know. I don't want to put words into your music. You worked so hard to not answer that question. I'm not going to define with words. But circus comes to mind.
Right.
Yeah. And how do you in changing the subject completely? You're in Brussels now.
Yes.
What made you
here for 10 years now, like almost.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought you moved recently.
No, it was like maybe not 10 years, 8 years.
Right. Did you move for work or for love or for?
No, I sort of got sick of Paris, really. You know, it was it was a bit stressful, and as well, I was breaking up with my former girlfriend, so I wanted to change the surroundings and stuff.
Yeah.
So and Brussels is actually quite a nice city to live.
Lovely place.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's really friendly.
Is it less of a big city? A bit less of a big city than Paris.
It's less of a big city, and it's less stressful as well. You know, it's much more calm and relaxed, and we have bigger apartments as well.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, Paris is tiny and very expensive, right?
Paris is really tiny, yeah. And you live in Cambridge, right?
I'm in Cambridge, which I think has a very similar feeling to Brussels in relation, Cambridge in relation to London has a very similar feeling in terms of it being a very old city.
It's
the focus here,
medieval, right?
And very university based. So. And it's all done by bike. I think Brussels is quite similar in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And there's no tube, there's no underground, and it's a very different life. I mean, I come from Rio, and I thought I could never live in a smallish town. And 2 years in London made me change my mind completely. London is absolute madness. I cannot do it. It's just like I used to travel 2 hours a day to go to work. I mean, what sort of a life is that?
Mm.
So have you heard of Paris recently, this last couple of days? You know how things are there?
I was in Paris, actually. I came back here like 2 days ago. I was in Paris for a few days, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing like a film concert there.
Right.
The guy I play with.
So are things opening up in terms of being able to do live music?
Not really now. It wasn't like a concert with an audience. It was just filmed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the shops are opening, actually.
Right.
The shops opened like last Saturday or something.
Right.
So it was actually really crowded outside. There were there was like queues everywhere, like in front of the shops. So it was a bit more like it used to be.
Right, and also. I know that this week Paris is going through quite a few protests, due to the law that was supposed to prohibit people to post pictures of the police?
Oh yeah. Well, it's these are like really such a bad period for French politics. We've got this awful police, actually, like the worst police we've ever had. And this law you're talking about, like, is just it's just unbearable. Like, you want to have the right to show images of policemen beating up people, so they can do anything they want. So
yeah, we have this this image of France being such a fair place, and law would be central to French life, and police would be fair, etc. But just in the last week or so, I've been reading so many cases of extreme racism by the police, right?
Oh yeah,
and it's such a mixed country like France. I mean, you get a big portion of the population living in fear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the French police is ontologically racist. It's it's really bad, because they're violent, they're racist, and they don't hesitate to beat up people. It's really terrible. I feel like I'm in Chile in 73 or something.
Yeah, blimey.
Yeah.
Pinochet.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Chile. Chile is quite an important place for you and Holden, right?
Yeah.
So Holden is Holden your first band, or did you have other bands before Holden?
I had a rock and roll band when I was in college or something.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never done anything, like, we never recorded anything. So it was my you could say it was my real first
band. And how long before you guys left to Chile? I mean, it must be. But just tell me the story of you guys being a French band and being so recognized in Chile, perhaps even more recognized in Chile than France itself.
It's hard to say, because maybe it wasn't the same audience in France and in Chile. In French, we had the usual sort of intellectual Parisian sort of audience.
Yeah.
But in Chile, it was much more of like teenager public, which was really nice, actually. But I don't know. Our first album came out there, on a Chilean label.
Not because you guys chased that particularly. It was just it ended up being distributed there.
It just happened, and that was a label owned by some like very popular guys there, like a Chilean band named Panico.
Mm-hmm.
They were really famous and quite big. So in a way, we took profit of that. We were associated with this band, so people liked us.
So that is before you met Atom. Is that how you call him?
Yeah.
That's you met him there, right?
Yeah, actually, we wanted to. We didn't know at first. We didn't know he was living there. We just wanted to work with him. And
you chased him. You wanted him specifically to produce your second album.
Yeah, and we found out he was actually living in Santiago, which was like a sign for us,
Yeah,
because we had just been there,
So did you move? Did you guys move to Chile or?
No, we didn't move to Chile, but we spent like we were going there like every year, and we recorded 2 albums there, and mixed another one there as well. And one time we spent like 2 months recording an album, and I went back there myself because at some stage I had a Chilean girlfriend, Yeah. So I spent like, I would say 6 months of my life in Santiago.
Oh, right. Okay.
Altogether.
I thought you ended up living there. It's such an amazing place.
It is.
Do you still get? No, sorry. Carry on. You were going to talk about Chile.
Sorry, what did you say?
You were going to talk about Chile, no?
Was I really?
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing place. So I was under the impression that during your second and third album that you recorded there, that you were just there and gigging there, and that was where you developed Holden. But no, you were essentially based in France and going to Chile just to record.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And gig, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, we were touring there. Like there was each album we had a tour there, and we recorded 2 albums there with Atom, because he was producing our albums.
That's Chevrotin and that's
Chevrotin. Yeah, that was in Chile, Chevrotin, and as well the one after Fantomatisme. And we mixed the one before Chevrotin, Pedro Lira there.
Which is your first?
No, that's the second one.
That's the second. What's the first one called?
L'Arrière-Monde.
Right. Okay. I don't think I've ever heard that one. I need to go back.
Really?
Yeah, I need to do my homework properly.
It's a very you should hear it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, definitely.
It's much more like rough. It's less polished.
That was Atom's job, I guess. Were you hoping for a more polished sound when you brought him in?
No, I wouldn't say that, but we wanted to have a sound,
yeah,
like our sound. But I guess it was kind of polished, and sort of clean as well, but in a nice way.
Mm. How long have you been? You have such a. I was talking to Stephen Munson the other day.
Stephen Munson, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? I'll tell you why. We agreed to talk, and then I started trying to. I realized that as much as I love Holden and your music, I couldn't really place you in any musical scene because of my poor knowledge of the French scene in general.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I know Stephen Munson played stuff with you, and we've been friends on Facebook as well for years. I have no idea why, but we've exchanged messages in the past. So I sent him a text and said, "Can we talk about Mocke?" He's like, "Oh my God, that would be amazing. I'd love talking about Mocke." So he was extremely complimentary of your work and yourself. Where was I
That's
going
funny.
with it? I can't remember where I was going with this.
So what did he say to you?
Well, oh, I know where. I know what. We were talking about, because you were talking about finding a sound, and you with Holden, you were trying to find a sound with Atom. I'd claim that you've always had a sound. I mean, we were talking to Stephen. We were saying how we can pick out a Mocke guitar from miles. I mean, I've also mentioned, in comparison, Tony Allen, the Afrobeat drummer. I'm not sure if you're familiar, yeah, and how you hear Tony Allen in a track, and it's like, I mean,
That's him.
It's so clearly him.
Yeah.
And you it's very similar with you. I mean, not only the color of the sound of your guitar, but also melodically, you've got a very specific approach that you can really pick out from. So, I mean, when you say that you trying to find a sound or trying to get help from a producer to find a sound, I'd claim you've always had one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So
it was more like a band sound.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Gave us, yeah, right.
Yeah. Have you always been refer to yourself as Mocke? Is that a nickname? Is that a childhood nickname?
It's a nickname. It's a name a friend gave me, like when I was in college and we had a band together. For some reason, he called me Mocke. I didn't actually choose it, and I didn't make any efforts to keep it, but it just went that way.
It just stayed that way.
Yeah,
are you making a conscious move to include your surname into your artistic? I've noticed that now. I see Dominique Depret. However, I can't really pronounce it Frenchly.
You said no. Well, you have to say Mocke. It's not really a French way to.
Oh no, what I mean is your surname. You've attached your surname now to your artistic name, right?
No. Well, not on my albums.
On Spotify now, your latest album is by Mocke and Mocke Depret as well.
Really? I didn't choose it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same. It's great.
What's life holding for you now? Have you got projects planned? You planning to tour?
Well, I've got quite a few projects actually, because I'm working as well on the new Midget album.
Yeah,
which is going to be a collaboration with the English composer Gavin Bryars.
Oh my God! Yes,
you know this guy, right? Yeah.
I got obsessed recently with Jesus Blood.
I know, it's such a wonderful tune, right?
Oh man, yeah.
And
the Titanic one as well. I absolutely love it.
I know.
I love Jesus Blood.
So it's quite a big thing to organize, really, because it's going to be like 17 musicians on stage, including him, and like a vocal choir, and everything costs a lot of money. So it's pretty difficult to raise the funds, etc. But it's really so exciting to be working with Gavin Bryars. It's like a dream.
Yeah. How did that come up?
Well, we were really quite with Claire, Midget, he was like one of the main influences of our latest album, Ferme tes jolis yeux, and when a French singer named Bertrand Belin did something with him, like with Gavin, he did like an opera or something, and Bertrand knew we were big fans of Gavin, so he invited us to the show, and as well he offered Midget album to Gavin. So when we met Gavin, he said, "Oh, guys, I really liked your stuff, and if sometimes you want to work with me, you're welcome."
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so we met it another time, like a few months later. And we asked him, like, could you arrange our next album? And he said yes.
So that will be the extent of his collaboration. He's going to arrange for you guys.
Yeah.
So
we composed whatever. I don't know if you really can call them songs, but like it's some sort of it's a big vocal piece, and we composed everything. Everything is ready, and he's gonna write songs for I don't know, like he's gonna write arrangements for like 10 or 12 instruments and a choir.
Right. And the idea is to record and have it performed live as well, of course.
To record and perform,
right,
as well. Yeah.
With him, that'll be fantastic.
With him, yeah.
Oh my God.
If he's still alive, I hope.
Is he old? How old is he?
He's 75.
Yeah, he can't be that young. I mean, Jesus' blood is 68. I don't know. It's
a bit later, I think. But
74.
Yeah. 74. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it has been a rough time for old people as well. So we are really afraid for his health and stuff. But he's in really good health, and he keeps doing loads of things. So it should be all right.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you. I mean, it's an amazing pleasure to speak to people that I appreciate so much. I mean, you've been in my ears for hours and hours of my life. It's a pleasure to meet you properly and to chat for so long.
It's great. I loved it.
Fantastic. I'll speak to you soon, Mocke. Cheers.
Yes.
Thanks.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.